So today's class we'll be talking about sedatives and hypnotics. Now, before we get into what are sedatives and hypnotics, I'll explain the definition of sedative and hypnotics. Now, there's a difference between both of them. They're not exactly the same. Sedative drugs will produce a calming and quietening effect, okay, without inducing sleep. Whenever you have a sedative drug, this does not cause sleep per se. Okay, it will reduce the excitement of the patient, very useful in conditions like epilepsy, and it will calm the patient. Okay, if they are having a psychotic attack or in any scenario where they are extremely excited, which can be harmful to them, so वो condition में sedative can be very helpful. Okay, then there is hypnotic. Now sedatives might make the patient slightly drowsy, but they will not cause you to sleep. ठीक है, थोड़ा मोटर फंक्शन इफेक्ट होता, बट दे विल थोड़ा क्या काफी ज्यादा मोटर फंक्शन इफेक्ट होता, बट यू विल नॉट स्लीप पर से. Okay, then there are hypnotics. These are stronger form of sedatives and they induce sleep almost resembling natural sleep. ठीक है, sedation and hypnosis are essentially different grades of CNS depression. ठीक है, depending on the time and depending on the dose, their relationship will vary. But essentially, any drug that can be used as a sedative can also be used as a hypnotic. Depending on how much of the drug you are giving and for how long the drug is working, it can also act as a hypnotic. Okay, so the drugs that will classify under them will be the same. Okay, depends on how you are using that same drug, at what dosage you are using, how many times you are using, the frequency of the dosage, so on and so forth. And depending on that, that drug will be classified either under a sedative or a hypnotic. Okay, now another important difference between either both of them is that hypnotics are slightly quicker in their action. Okay, they are they work for a shorter duration and they have a steeper dose response curve, meaning their dose response curve will suddenly shoot up, meaning immediately up action देखते, and within a few minutes you'll start seeing the decrease in the amount of drug as well. Even if it is not a few minutes, within a 1 or 2 hours you will see the effect of hypnotics being counted. Sedatives are much more slower acting. They'll act for a longer period of time. Right. Now, before we get into the classes itself, these two drugs were initially invented for insomnia. So whenever patients has insomnia, as in the patient is not able to sleep properly, that is when sedatives and hypnotics were initially used at least. ठीक है, अब उसके multiple uses है at multiple doses, but initially they were used for insomnia. Nowadays also you use it for insomnia, but there are other uses as well. So insomnia itself is of two categories. You have primary insomnia and secondary insomnia. Okay, insomnia, which is sleeplessness, this can be of two types. You have primary and secondary. Primary insomnia is not attributed to any medical condition or any psychiatric condition. It might not even be environmental condition. Any cause of insomnia that is due to anything other than medical cause. Yeah, okay, ठीक है. Anything other than medical cause or psychiatric cause or environmental causes, no, if they are not attributed to these three, that is when it will be categorized under primary insomnia. Secondary insomnia is due to clinical problems. Okay, clinical condition है, stress है, it might be drug induced, lack of physical activity, all of those will attribute to secondary insomnia. ठीक है, primary insomnia में the cause is a little vague. You'll not be able to understand the cause very easily. Secondary insomnia mein, it is easier to understand the cause. It will become much more apparent. The patient will have some clinical condition, or they'll be under a lot of stress, or they'll be taking some sort of CNS stimulant drug which is not letting them sleep. ठीक है, it might even be caffeine. If you take too much of coffee, you'll have insomnia. ठीक है, coffee, tea, whatever, any CNS stimulant for that matter. Now, coming to the drugs itself, you have three main classes of drugs that are coming under sedatives and hypnotics. One are BZDs, benzodiazepines. इसमें you'll have long acting, short acting, and intermediate acting. Uh, ultra short acting लिख देंगे इसको rather than okay. Long acting, short acting, ultra short acting. The difference is this will work for 1 to 2 days. This will work for 12 hours to 24 hours. Okay, this will work for less than 6 hours, ultra short acting. डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट काइंड ऑफ इफेक्ट यू वांट you'll use different ones, ठीक है। लॉन्ग एक्टिंग में डायजेपम क्लोनाजेपम आता, शॉर्ट एक्टिंग में oxazepam lorazepam आता। Alprazolam is also used. Alprazolam is a new drug that is being used nowadays quite a lot, very popular nowadays. अल्ट्रा शॉर्ट एक्टिंग में मिडाजोलम आता, ठीक है। दिस इज अल्ट्रा शॉर्ट एक्टिंग, ओके, यूएसए ultra short acting. Triazolam also comes under ultra short acting. Anyway, all of their mechanism of action will be the same. Then a different class is newer agents. So newer agents में दो drugs आते हैं. You have melatonin and its congeners. What is melatonin? आप लोग इससे पहले मेलेटोनिन के बारे में पढ़े बहुत बार. Ever heard of pineal gland? Pineal gland बोल के एक छोटी ग्लैंड रहती है आपके ब्रेन में, उसके बारे में कभी सुने?
सर वो स्लीप के लिए।
Yes, melatonin is responsible for maintaining your circadian rhythms for your sleep-wake cycle. Okay, anyone who has erratic amount of melatonin will not be able to sleep properly. Tryptophan से बनता melatonin. Tryptophan the amino acid. Last year अपन biochemistry में भी पढ़े थे ये. Anyway, Z hypnotics में आते हैं zolpidem and zopiclone. Zolpidem and zopiclone. ठीक है, these will only cause sleepiness, but they will not have any anti-anxietic effects. ठीक है, Z hypnotics. Then finally the last class is barbiturates. Not used nowadays, but इसमें classify करते. Very rarely used barbiturates because they are better alternatives to barbiturates. That is why phenobarbitone, pentobarbital दोनों आते हैं इसमें. Now coming to benzodiazepines. Benzodiazepines में one of the first drugs that was used was chlordiazepoxide. Okay, that was the first benzodiazepine that was introduced in 1961. Chlordiazepoxide. Even now, in some places it is still used, but they are better alternatives, especially diazepam, which is comparatively much better. The main actions of benzodiazepine will be obviously it will cause sedation and hypnosis. These can decrease anxiety, and they can act as an anti-xiolytic agent, as in they are treating anxiety of a patient. Anesthetic के वैसा use कर सकते हैं आप, pre-anesthetic के वैसा use कर सकते हैं आप, muscle relaxation effect रहता, anti-convulsant effect रहता, and it will cause amnesia as well. So it has multiple effects. And on your body, benzodiazepines will generally decrease blood pressure and increase your heart rate. Okay, they will cause vasodilation. Anyway, blood pressure will increase, heart rate will increase, it will cause slight tachycardia, and it will decrease gastric acid secretions. That is another reason why it is used as a pre-anesthetic. Now, generally, when you give benzodiazepines, especially diazepam, the need for giving a anesthetic or the dose of general anesthetic can be reduced because the patient will already be sedated to a great degree. तो आप general anesthetic का dose कम करके दे सकते patient को. Okay. If you give a very high dose of benzodiazepine, it will cause respiratory depression, severe respiratory depression. We'll discuss about that in time. Anyway, coming to the mechanism of action of benzodiazepines, these are GABA receptor stimulators. Now, you know that GABA is a inhibitory neurotransmitter that is present in your synapses. Whenever there is neurotransmission occurring using a excitatory neurotransmitter like acetylcholine or glutamate or whatever you take, कोई excitatory neurotransmitter है which is transmitting information from one neuron to the other. When you want to stop that transmission, your body will obviously secrete GABA. And as a result of GABA, what will happen is GABA receptors will be activated and they will open chlorine channels. Chlorine channels will push the neuron towards hyperpolarization. A lot of chlorine going inside will cause hyperpolarization. And synaptic transmission does not occur. That is the mechanism of action of benzodiazepines. So BZD, इन लोगों को BZDs बोल के लिखते हैं, okay? They bind with or bind to GABA A receptor and increase frequency of chlorine channel opening. So there are several ways in which you can inhibit a neurotransmission. Okay, specifically just by using that GABA receptor itself, आप या तो क्लोरीन चैनल को आप बहुत देर तक ओपन रख सकते हैं. You can keep the chlorine channel open for a long period of time, because of which transmission, or essentially that neuron will undergo hyperpolarization. The neuronal membrane will become hyperpolarized, or you can open it multiple times. Okay, either way, more and more amount of chlorine are going inside. There are two ways through which you can, there are more ways as well. The two ways that we will use, one is you are opening that chlorine channel multiple times. Normally when an action potential is going on, chlorine channel should not open, because it will start pushing that neuron towards hyperpolarization rather than depolarization. It will be hyperpolarized, and it will stay hyperpolarized for a long period of time. That is one way, opening it multiple times. Second way is keeping it open for a long period of time. You can do either one of them. ठीक है, अब समझो there is a gate, ठीक है, through which there are people who are trying to imagine there is a big building and there is a gate in that building. There are about 100 people inside that building. Okay, those people want to go out. Now if you want to make the people go out, आप या तो वो डोर को completely open कर सकते हैं for a long period of time, or you can open and close it on multiple intervals. ठीक है, in either senses what will happen is people will start going out. So the same thing is happening here. Now that people is chlorine, and by out I mean inside the neuron in this scenario. ठीक है, they will go inside the neuron, and as a result the neuronal membrane will become hyperpolarized. So neuron chlorine flow increases, and neuronal membrane becomes hyperpolarized. Chloride ions increase in the neuron and cause its hyperpolarization. So essentially the neuron will be in absolute refractory period. It will start going towards hyperpolarization. Repolarization, hyperpolarization के तरफ चले आता वो. And you know, when the neuron is in hyperpolarization, generally repolarization or hyperpolarization, it will not be able to fire again. ठीक है, absolute या relative refractory period में चले जाता हूँ, and it causes CNS depression as a result. Neurotransmission does not occur. No neurotransmission means CNS depression. ठीक है, multiple of these neurons in your CNS, if they are being depressed, it will cause CNS depression. If multiple of those CNS neurons are being hyperpolarized, if they are not able to transmit neuronal impulses, the whole of your CNS will start getting depressed. ठीक है, benzodiazepines will preferentially act on your midbrain, specifically around your reticular formation, जो आपके limbic area रहता और the area which maintains your wakefulness, that area is specifically affected. That is why generally the patient will undergo sleep or they'll become drowsy. ठीक है, in case of benzodiazepine overdosage, because it is very easy to overdose benzodiazepine as well, there is a specific antidote called flumazenil. You can use flumazenil whenever there is overdosage of benzodiazepine. It will immediately reverse the symptoms of benzodiazepine. Now, normally, whenever you give benzodiazepines, certain adverse effects become very apparent. The patient will become drowsy, they'll become lethargic. Make sure that the patient is avoiding. You may tell the patient to avoid driving altogether when they are on benzodiazepines, because reaction time will get severely prolonged when a person is on benzodiazepine. So, as a result, driving can be very dangerous. It will cause weakness, it will cause blurry vision, ataxia, amnesia, disorientation. The patient will not be able to orient themselves properly. Now you can use benzodiazepines in insomnia. Obviously you can use it in anxiety. You can use it as a muscle relaxant if the patient is having a convulsion, sorry, spasms and all. उसमें आप use कर सकते हैं, convulsions में use कर सकते हैं आप. ठीक है, बहुत सारे जगहों पे use कर सकते हैं. Then ओके, टी हाफ जो है, स्पेशली डायजेपम का, ये लोग के टी हाउस बहुत बड़े बड़े रहते हैं, इसलिए दे आर एक्टिंग फॉर अ लॉन्ग पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. डायजेपम जनरली हैज अ टी हाफ ऑफ अबाउट 30 to 60 hours. Flurazepam has a T half of 50 to 100 hours. Okay. Alprazolam has a this thing of 12 hours. What do you call? Alprazolam is a short acting benzodiazepine, and its T half is about 12 hours. So you can get it. It will last for a long period of time. Then we have barbiturates. Now, barbiturates were introduced in 1960s and they were used in 1960s, but they have a very low therapeutic index. Okay, slightly higher dose will also, cause profound serious depression, and it can cause specifically respiratory depression. अगर आप थोड़ा भी ज़्यादा barbiturate का dose दे दिए, talking about barbiturates, so phenobarbital, pentobarbital, these two, आप थोड़ा भी ज़्यादा अगर dose दे दिए तो it'll the patient might die. Okay, because of respiratory depression. You have other drugs as well, ultra short acting ones as well, but they are also kind of dangerous. Okay, that is why better alternatives came up and those are used nowadays. Anyway, the mechanism of action is similar to benzodiazepines. It will also affect the GABA receptor, but यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा, instead of increasing the frequency of GABA receptor opening, meaning it will not open, as benzodiazepines open the gate multiple times, barbiturates will keep that gate open for a long period of time. It will increase duration of chlorine channel opening. Okay. As I told you, there are two ways through which you can cause hyperpolarization. One way is, two ways through which you can send chlorine inside. One is by opening that gate multiple times. Second is by keeping that gate opened for a long period of time. Barbiturates will do the second thing. Okay. Uh, Same thing. GABA is released. GABA will attach to GABA receptors. Will go and attach to these drugs. Will go and attach to GABA receptors, and as a result, chlorine channel will stay open in this scenario. Benzodiazepines, yeah, barbiturates, whatever drug you take, they will mimic GABA. Okay, it is not that GABA level is increasing in your this thing. They will mimic GABA and they'll go and attach to the receptors of GABA. As a result, chlorine channel is being stimulated. Anyway, coming to the pharmacological effects, it has a lot comparatively stronger CNS depression compared to this thing benzodiazepines बहुत ज़्यादा रहता, to a point that it can be toxic sometimes. As I told you, very low therapeutic index, anti drug रहता है ये, narrow therapeutic index बोलते हैं लोगों को. It can cause sedation and hypnosis just like those benzodiazepines, but यहाँ पर REM sleep बहुत decrease हो जाती, ठीक है, and non-REM sleep is also decreased to a certain extent. The patient will be unconscious, they will not be properly sleeping per se, ठीक है, and when they wake up they will have a severe headache and they will be they'll have a hangover essentially, ठीक है. आप अगर बहुत सारा अल्कोहल पिए तो the next day because of dehydration you will have headache and you will not be completely like your cognitive function will not be at 100%, right? Something similar will happen with barbiturates. When you take barbiturates, after the dose has waned off, after the dose has left your body, the patient will have headache and they will have a hangover like effect, residual sedation रहता है उसमें patient में. Patient might have memory and attention impairment for that duration. It has anticonvulsant effects. The main important effect will be on respiration. It is a very strong respiratory depression to the extent that even a slightly higher dose will cause respiratory paralysis, which can be fatal. ठीक है, if अगर आप थोड़ा भी high dose दे दिए इसका, the patient will die because they will not be able to breathe properly. All right. It will cause reduction in BP, slight reduction in BP. If you give at hypnotic doses, at normal doses, it will cause slight decrease in BP. At toxic doses, there will be significant fall in BP to an extent that it will decrease myocardial contractility as well, and your vasomotor center will also get depressed. So that will essentially put the patient into an emergency condition. आप नॉर्मल डोज जब दे रहे बार्बिचुरेट का, it is causing slight decrease in BP, but if you give a slightly higher dose or toxic dose, that is causing complete lack, or if it is not complete lack, also significant decrease in muscle contractility, myocardial contractility. Your heart will completely become bradycardic. तो both the rate of contraction कम हो जाता है, it will not be able to contract properly, and जो है vasomotor center will be depressed. ठीक है, vasomotor center is the one that is controlling your blood pressure. If vasomotor center gets depressed, your BB will fall even more. Even 6 to 10 grams of barbiturates can be fatal. ठीक है. That is why it is classified under anti-atrip. Now there is one very special use of barbiturates though. We discussed this in the first chapter. When a patient is having neonatal jaundice, in neonates, as I told you, उन लोगों के अंदर liver completely developed नहीं रहती. ठीक है. Their liver is still developing in neonates, and their body will not be able to deal with bilirubin. As a result, what will happen is, why they are not able to deal with bilirubin is because they don't have the enzymes to deal with bilirubin. ठीक है. Specifically the conjugating enzyme जो unconjugated bilirubin को conjugated bilirubin में convert करता, glucuronide transferase, it's a microsomal enzyme. That enzyme will not be produced properly in neonates. As a result, unconjugated bilirubin can start getting accumulated and it can cause jaundice in the patient. वो कंडीशन में अगर आप फिनोबार्बिटोन दे रहे हैं, it can act as a microsomal enzyme inducer. Very helpful in this scenario. Small dose of phenobarbital in neonatal jaundice will help your liver, or it will indirectly cause increase in microsomal enzymes. It will induce microsomal enzymes. Obviously, the patient will have anesthetic effect and sedative effect, but you will be able to resolve jaundice. I hope you are understanding the point. यहाँ पर UCB is not getting converted into conjugated bilirubin because of lack of uridine glucuronide transferase. ये जो enzyme है वो present नहीं रहता और बहुत कम quantity में रहता neonates में. By giving phenobarbital, you are inducing this enzyme. You are increasing the quantity of this enzyme. You are increasing the production of this enzyme by the liver. And as long as you keep giving that drug, that jaundice will be resolved. Later on, you can take steps so that over time, what will happen is as the liver starts developing, this problem will go away. But at least for patients whose liver is not able to handle it and jaundice हो रहा है उनको, उनके अंदर phenobarbital देना अच्छा रहता. Then finally, we have one drug called ethanol. Now, ethanol is not a preferable sedative, but it does have sedative effect. Okay, the drinking alcohol is ethanol. Okay, what you find in shops, different types of alcohol, all of them are ethanol. You take beer or you take rum, whatever different type of alcohol is present in the market, all of them are ethanol. Any other alcohol will kill you. Methanol is very fatal. Propanolol is also very fatal. तो आप एक ethanol ही drink कर सकते हैं, वो भी about less than 40%. Anything more than 40% or 50%, the patient will again die. So ethanol जो है, this gets metabolized in your body into carbon dioxide and hydrogen and water, sorry. And जो metabolism होता is happening through an enzyme, is a dehydrogenase enzyme. So first ethanol gets acted upon by alcohol dehydrogenase. Alcohol dehydrogenase. Whenever alcohol dehydrogenase acts on an ethanol, it will form acetaldehyde. So the reaction goes, whenever you have an alcohol, उसको dehydrogenate करे तो aldehyde बनता, aldehyde को अगर dehydrogenate करे तो आपको acetate बनता, ketone बनता essentially. So this aldehyde is again later converted using aldehyde dehydrogenase. Aldehyde dehydrogenase into acetate. Acetate. Acetate later gets converted into carbon dioxide and water. It gets dissipated into carbon dioxide and water. This is how alcohol is being dealt with in your body. The problem comes with acetaldehyde, especially with the quantity of alcohol that someone is taking. Acetaldehyde has a lot of problems. It will create a lot of problems in your body. Okay, it will disrupt lipid metabolism. It will disrupt metabolism in general. It will cause toxicity in your body. It will cause nausea and vomiting. And because it is disrupting lipid metabolism, especially it will start causing fat deposition on your organs, specifically on the liver. Okay, that is one of the reasons why alcoholics ki liver will be severely damaged. One, it is not able to deal with alcohol very well because it is getting metabolized. It puts a lot of load on your liver to metabolize alcohol. Secondly, because of fat deposition, you will start having a specific condition called fatty liver, and you will generally see that uh, patients who are alcoholics, I mean who have been taking alcohol for a while, maybe a few months or so, they will get abnormally fat. Okay, especially around their belly. ठीक है, they might have thin arms and thin legs, but they will get abnormally fat in and around their belly. That is because of acetaldehyde. Their liver is specifically getting deposited with fat. As because of that, the patient's liver will stop working after a while. Okay, it will cause severe damage to the liver and depends on the concentration that they are taking as well, concentration and amount of alcohol they are taking. But it will cause a lot of problem. Okay. Now, locally, ethanol. See, well, if you apply it locally on skin, you know, अगर आप antiseptic के ऐसा भी use करें, it will have an antiseptic and astringent effect. Astringent effect, as in what will happen is the proteins on the surface of your skin, they will harden, they will they will precipitate, and the skin will become hard. Okay, whenever you apply alcohol on the skin, it will have a slight antiseptic effect as well. It will act as a CNS depressant, and depending on the dose that you are giving, its effect on the CVS will be slightly different. So cardiovascular system पे, if you use a very small dose, it will generally cause flushing or a feeling of warmth. This is because of vasodilation, specifically cutaneous vasodilation. The blood vessels that are directly under your skin, they will be vasodilated. As a result, what will happen is the patient will start feeling a little warm. That is why in colder countries you will see that people will drink a lot more alcohol. As in, even if they don't drink a lot of alcohol in the day, they generally drink it several times just to keep themselves warm. Okay? Like really, really cold places and all, Russia, Canada, and so on and so forth. Then, if you give, if you take this in a very large dose, this will cause hypotension. Hypotension. Okay. Significant fall in blood pressure. It will cause myocardial depression and vasomotor center depression. On GIT, it will increase GIT secretions. Actually, it can cause increased acid levels. That is why PUD का एक cause was chronic alcoholism. People who have peptic ulcer disease, उनके अंदर some of those patients might be alcoholic, and excessive alcohol consumption will contribute to increased amount of stomach acid, increased amount of gastric secretions altogether, and as a result increased amount of stomach acid as well. तो उनके अंदर अल्सरेशन होना एंड अल्सर कॉम्प्लिकेशन होना बहुत कॉमन है. Okay. Along with that, their liver will be, a lot of fat gets deposited on the liver and it might undergo fatty degeneration, one form of chronic inflammation. ठीक है. इफ यू रिमेंबर अपन स्टिएटोसिस के बारे में एक बार पढ़े थे. आई एम नॉट श्योर आप लोगों को डिटेल में पढ़ाया नहीं पढ़ाया. आई डोंट थिंक इट वाज देयर फॉर यू, बट देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम कॉल्ड स्टिएटोसिस दैट occurs. Steatosis is when cellular damage occurs because of fat deposition in any tissue. यहाँ पर you will see hepatic steatosis. ठीक है. And eventually it will lead to cirrhosis. Another thing, alcohol is a microsomal enzyme inducer. So do not give it with other inducer or inhibitor drugs. Okay. It will have a diuretic effect as well. It will diuretic. It will increase urination. Essentially, it decreases ADH, because of which it has anti-diuretic effect, and it has an aphrodisiac effect. Aphrodisiac का मतलब यह है, it will remove inhibition. Now, normally people, when they are sane, the things that they won't do, they will do when they are on alcohol, especially on high amounts of alcohol. So, for example, let us suppose, uh, normally you know that when you are crossing a road, when you're crossing a road in a traffic road, you're not supposed to jump around and you're not supposed to run on the road. When someone is alcoholic, you cannot expect them to behave normally. Their inhibitions are lost and they might do anything. They might actually start running on the road and do crazy things. So their inhibitions are removed whenever alcohol is taken. And again, that is dose dependent as well. At low doses, it will not be as high. They'll still have their cognitive function. At very high doses, uh, their inhibition is significantly removed. If you give high enough doses, they'll sleep. Okay, very high doses will cause sleep. So there is that. Now, because of these effects of alcohol, it is very easy to develop dependence of alcohol. That is why whenever you are trying to get a patient off alcohol, when you're trying to remove them of dependence, आप क्या करते? You will give it with something called disulfiram. Disulfiram is not exactly an antidote for uh, this thing. It is not an antidote for alcohol, but this fellow will cause severe accumulation of aldehyde in the body for a short period of time. So let us suppose a patient is what do you call alcohol dependent. They are addicted to alcohol and they come to your rehabilitation center. Let's suppose, even if they are outpatient, आप क्या करते हो उनको disulfiram drug देते. Now, after a while, obviously, the patient will not be able to tolerate it, and they will go to a alcohol center and they'll buy alcohol and drink it. When they have disulfiram inside their body, what will happen is alcohol will not be metabolized properly. So, ethanol gets converted into acetaldehyde, and this gets converted into acetate. Okay. This acetate is being dissipated into carbon dioxide and water. This is how metabolism of alcohol occurs. This occurs in a seamless process. Disulfiram will act on the enzyme that is converting acetaldehyde to acetate. As a result, what will happen is this acetaldehyde will start getting accumulated in your body at a very acute pace, meaning normally long-term accumulation of acetaldehyde will cause a lot of problems, as in liver damage and all. But short-term accumulation of acetaldehyde will cause flushing within a few minutes. Aldehyde will accumulate and it will cause flushing. It will cause a throbbing headache, nausea, vomiting, sweating. They'll start vomiting a lot. They'll have hypotension and they'll have severe confusion. So this is called an anti-abuse reaction. And abuse reaction. So you are essentially forcing the patient to associate alcohol with all of these effects. Matlab, whenever they think of drinking alcohol, they will remember that they'll have to experience all of that: throbbing headache, nausea, vomiting, sweating, and all of that. So inherently, you're trying to break the cycle of them drinking. Like, you're trying to break the habit here. That you're doing that by forcing the patient into a very awkward autonomic condition. Okay, that condition where they feel very bad. Matlab, physically they are feeling very bad. Okay. Generally, these effects will last for about 7 to 14 days after stopping disulfiram. Even if you stop disulfiram, these effects will keep on happening for the next 7 to 14 days. It is contraindicated in patients with liver disease, though. Don't give disulfiram in patients who are physically dependent on alcohol or who have liver disease. Another thing, important thing, don't give alcohol with a few drugs. Alcohol should be avoided with other hypnotics, with opioids, um, one second. Yeah, with opioids, with antipsychotics, griseofulvin. Griseofulvin is an antifungal drug. It will also have a disulfiram-like reaction. Metronidazole, NSAIDs, sulfonylureas, ये पूरों के साथ नहीं देना alcohol. ठीक है? Contraindicated with all of them. So that is about alcohol, and that is about sedatives and hypnotics in general. You have another drug called methanol, but methanol is not used. Methanol is properly poisonous. Okay, whenever someone consumes methanol, it has severe toxicity. There is a very good chance that the patient will die if they are not treated immediately, because methanol जब metabolize होता है, it will form formaldehyde. That is extremely toxic to your body, much more than acetaldehyde. Formaldehyde. ठीक है. Methanol is also called formic acid. So formaldehyde जब बनता, its toxicity is much more severe. It will be manifested as vomiting, headache. Patient will have vertigo, severe abdominal pain. They'll have acidosis. Sometimes they might go into coma. आप क्या कर सकते हैं? Also, formic acid can cause retinal damage. It will cause blindness if you give even 15 ml of methanol. If the patient is taking 15 ml of methanol, it can cause blindness in the patient, and the patient will generally die due to respiratory failure. In that condition, one of the best drugs that you can give to counter methanol is ethanol. So that's a very tricky situation. यहाँ पर आप क्या कर सकते हैं? If a patient is, let's suppose they have consumed methanol, you have to make sure that they consume ethanol, whatever type of ethanol it is. Just make sure that they are drinking ethanol. You give alcohol as a treatment in this scenario. What happens is ethanol will compete with alcohol dehydrogenase, so it will compete with methanol for alcohol dehydrogenase. So आप अगर ethanol दिए patient को, methanol will not get converted into formaldehyde. Most of that enzyme is used up by ethanol. Now normally what is happening is ethanol is getting converted into alcohol using alcohol dehydrogenase, right? Alcohol dehydrogenase. This same enzyme acts on methanol as well. This fellow will help in conversion of methanol into formaldehyde. But यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा, when a patient is taking methanol, formaldehyde बहुत increase हो जा रहा है and it has much more toxic effects compared to acetaldehyde, especially acute effects. आप यहाँ पर क्या कर रहे हैं, in case that the patient is poisoned with methanol, if you give ethanol, what will happen is this ethanol is much more, how should I put it, it has much more affinity towards alcohol dehydrogenase. It will stick on to alcohol dehydrogenase much stronger when compared to methanol. So instead of formaldehyde being formed, acetaldehyde will be formed. So you are stopping the short-term toxic effects of methanol, at least till you are able to remove it completely from the patient's body. Those short-term effects can be negated. I hope you are understanding the logic. Same enzyme hai, you're just giving it a different molecule so that formaldehyde is not formed. Instead of formaldehyde being formed, acetaldehyde will be formed because ethanol likes alcohol dehydrogenase much more than methanol. Or think of it this way: ethanol will literally snatch alcohol dehydrogenase away from methanol, because of which formaldehyde cannot be formed. Acetaldehyde will be formed instead, but at least it is easier to deal with acetaldehyde when compared to formaldehyde. At least the patient will not immediately die. So that is another drug that comes under sedatives and hypnotics. Even though it is not used, अगर poisoning हुआ methanol का, तो alcohol दे सकते हैं आप, ethanol दे सकते हैं. There is another antidote called fomepizole, direct antidote that you can give, inhibits aldehyde dehydrogenase. But anyway, in that scenario, अगर आपको fomepizole नहीं मिला, तो you can give this thing. Fomepizole is the antidote. Pizole, ठीक है. डायजेपम का फ्लूमाजेनिल है, फोमेपिजोल इसका है, डाइसल्फ्यूराम इज एन एंटीडोट फॉर अल्कोहल. ठीक है, चलो. So that completes our sedatives and hypnotics. In the next class, we'll start